turn it up so I can see your comments. Hello everyone. Sorry for all the people whose names I missed. Hey Judy, Katrina, Denise. See you tomorrow, Denise. That'll be nice. All right, let's get this camera turned around. Because of my evening going completely out the window this evening, I haven't really planned very much. I do have an idea in my head what I want to do with the first card, so let's just see how we go. All right. Hey Helen, nice to see you there. Let me switch this camera around. And let's see if we can get it to work properly. So give me a tick. So I'm going to line it up and hopefully not turn off the camera in the process like I did last week. No, looking good. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Hi Shirley. Hey Joan. Oh, I'm so glad. That makes my heart happy to know that you're learning new things from me. Sometimes I learn new things too. I mean, oh, can I show? Okay, you guys are having a little bit of a laugh at my disaster of an evening. Let me show you something else. Okay, made this card today, right? This is actually one of the cards I was getting ready. I'm making cards to go out with the catalogues. So if you aren't on my mailing list and you need a new mini catalogue, for the catalogue that's starting in January, please send me a message and I will make sure we get one out to you. If you're in Australia, that is. If you're in somewhere else, US or elsewhere, then you might want to speak to a demonstrator in your area, in your country. But anyway, this is one of the cards I was making. This is all new products, some new paper, which I don't know if you can see the gold on that. It's just beautiful. Some doilies, a bit of stamping. I love this stamp. This is from a new set called Flowing Flowers. But you want to know what's really funny? I was making so many cards and I've been using our note cards and envelopes. That's just nice and easy for these. But guess what I did, guys? You want to see what my disaster was? Ta-da! It's the same card. Look what I did. I didn't realise I was working on the back of an existing card, a card I'd already made. This is another one going out with catalogues. So now I have two cards on the same card. Who does that? Okay, it looks nice. I know, Judy, except for me doing a big disaster. I mean, really? So just kind of an idea of how my day has been. So who knows what tonight's live is going to be like. But I'm going to have to chop that card. What I'm going to do is to fix it is I will chop the card in half. Just chop it straight down and I'll mount this onto another card and mount that one onto another card. So I have two. Has anyone ever done that? Oh my goodness. All right. So because I've been racing and this took me a whole heap more time tonight than it should have, I haven't actually got very much planned. Very much prepared. So I'm going to go with an idea that's in my head. And I'm cutting a piece of crumb cake cardstock directly in half. And we are going to use a set that's retiring tonight. We're going to use the Frosted Gingerbread stamp set and the matching gingerbread dies. Okay. Now for this particular one, I don't think I'm going to need the dies. I'm just going to use the stamps. So I'm actually going to use this card. This is going to be what I call a one layer card where I'm not really... Well, I may put a layer. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So I'm just going to pop this over with my bone folder. Oh, you've done it too? Yeah, I will have to cut them in half and make new ones. I know, but you've done it too, Roz. Oh my gosh. Thank you for making me feel better because I felt so silly when I realized what I'd done. None of us are perfect, right? So now I get to decide whether I use the snowflake, the bell, or the ornament. Oh, I don't know. Or I could use all of them. You know what I'm going to do? I'm tempted to use the snowflake just because it's so pretty. And I know everyone goes off about using snowflakes in Australia when we don't have them here. But hey, when else are we going to use these beautiful things? So I'm going to use it. But if you don't like that, we can always go back and use the ornament. Hey, Helen, nice to see you. And I'm going to emboss these, but I'm going to do my stamping with Versamark. So for anyone who hasn't done, anyone not done embossing before, I'm sure you guys all have, but if you haven't, you use a sticky ink such as a pigment ink or a Versamark, which will then allow the powder, the embossing powder, to stick to it. So that means you can emboss your images, but you can't use our normal classic inks for this because they're water-based and they dry too quickly, so your powder doesn't stick to them. So I'm actually going to, before I stamp this, I'm going to grab, you can use a piercing mat underneath, or you can even use, it's not quite as good, but I use sometimes a silicone mat. Silicone mats are handy when you're embossing, just to give us a little bit more cushioning. And I'm just going to randomly stamp this. I like, when I'm stamping snowflakes, I like them to be straight up and down. I don't know why, because just, I don't know. That's just how I like them to be. But you don't have to stamp them like that. Now you could just, you know, you could just leave this on here. You could just do Versamark and have like a watermark look in the background. But I'm actually going to emboss them. And I'm going to emboss them in white. I'm a big fan of white on crumb cake. I don't know why. There's just something about it that makes me happy. Just looks good. All right, I think I'm just about done here. Maybe just a little one down here in the corner. Okay, that looks good. Now, Versamark, thankfully, takes quite a while to dry. So I've got some white embossing powder here. And it will take a while for that to dry, which means it gives you plenty of time to pour your powder on. And because I don't have a lot of powder in this tub, I'm actually going to empty the whole thing and then tap it off into my little container. I always work with a container when I'm embossing. And then I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to grab my container and pour it back on. Got a little bit of a friend there. Not sure what that is. Bit of paper that shouldn't be there. I'm just going to tap it off. I missed a bit up here, so I'm going to put a bit more there. Tap, tap, tap. Now, if you happen to have any extra powder stick somewhere it shouldn't, like I can see there's some there, that's easy enough to fix. When I'm embossing, I always keep a brush, like a little brush like this, or even if for very small areas, a smaller one. So I keep these two brushes handy so that I can just, you know, brush that off. Just helps neaten things up so we don't end up with any stray powder. And white and crumb cake is just really a nice combo. Blue and white is the other one I really like. Love, love, love blue and white. I've been lately going through a stage of misty moonlight and white, which I think is really, really nice. Now, some of you heard, those of you who are my customers, I put it in my newsletter and I also talked about it over on my private VIP group, so you can go and read about it over there and get more detail. But I am doing a little appreciation gift for my customers this month who order in December, just to say thank you for being with me. And that's a nice little gift that everyone's going to get. It's basically like a little voucher book for next year. So if you are interested in that, go check it out. I've got my heat tool here and I am just going to put my silicone mat back underneath. It's very helpful to have a silicone mat underneath your work when you're heat embossing because it protects your surface, and because this is heat resistant, it will really stand up to your heat tool, so that's good. Okay, I'm not going to talk much while I'm heating because I know it's hard to hear. Now, the only thing that might happen is our paper might curl a little bit. If it does, that's okay. We'll flatten it out. Anyone got some exciting plans for the weekend? Anyone doing anything fun that we can all get excited about too? Now, white is a little harder to see when the embossing takes place, but I hope you might be able to see it becomes whiter and more solid looking. And if you turn it in the light, the white that you've cooked is actually shining. Whereas the stuff that you haven't cooked, the powder that hasn't been cooked yet, is dull. Can you see this working? It's a bit tricky, I know. Once your heat tool is warmed up, it will do the job faster. So you will probably see it moving a bit more quickly now. I'm just going to pop that down for a sec. And what I like to do before I put my heat tool away is hold it in the light so that I can see if I've missed any bits. Because if you've any bits, like I can see there's a tiny bit just here that I've missed. So I'll go back and do that bit. But most, and a little bit at the end of this one. So here and here, not quite done. And at the end of this one. So there's a couple there to do. Just going to quickly grab my heat tool again. Can you see what I mean about the crumb cake and white, how nice it looks? It's a really good look. I think it creates a really nice background. You could do a number of things with this. You could sponge some colour over the top if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that today, but I could. You could colour, oh, and that's tempting to do. You could colour your snowflakes with blends, because white colours really beautifully with blends. That's tempting. Should we do that? Maybe. I don't know. Let me see. What colours have I got? It would be really nice to do a couple of different shades of blue, or Pool Party and Bermuda Bay maybe. What do you think? Shall we leave them white or shall we colour them? What do you think? The first person to answer, Pool Party. Okay, Katrina, that's what we'll do. So let me grab my Pool Party blends. So blends markers are great for working on embossing. This wasn't what I was intending to do at all, but Pool Party and Bermuda Bay are two colour works that work really nicely together. So, and this is going to be a nice look on this crumb cake cardstock. So yeah, let's go with it and let's see. I'm thinking about starting with the darkest colour in the middle. So let's see what happens. So it doesn't give you super, super dark. And if I don't like this, hey, it's not the end of the world. So, but I think we will like it. Now, the good thing about alcohol markers is they work on any surface. All right, so they'll work on your embossing, they'll work on plastic, they'll work on all kinds of things. I'm going to leave the ends white, I think. So this is my dark Pool Party. It's not very dark next to my Bermuda Bay, I know, but it does give me a little bit of a blended look as I work outwards. What do we think? Do we like this? I don't mind it. I'm just going to come back in here with a little bit of a darker colour. Because it's shiny surface, it kind of, the blends moves around a little bit more than it would say on paper. So you kind of need to move it a little bit more than you normally do. All right, what do you think? Do we like that? All right, let's keep going. Let's do them all the centers. So I'm using my darkest one and then my light Bermuda Bay, kind of to take the colour out a little bit further. But the nice thing about me having taken my daughter had already gone. My son has actually now gone as well, because I had to take him, as you know. that means I get the house to myself for a while. So that's rather nice. So normally the cats have to be fed around 8, and I didn't do that tonight. I fed them before I started. It was 1:45, so I figured, oh, well, it won't matter if they're 15 minutes early. Then I haven't got to race out later or listen to them banging on the door or meowing as they tend to do. So what you want to do is kind of just work over the edge of each colour and move it outwards. And then, so I'm not using my lightest Pool Party. I'm using the dark Pool Party because that's still quite light next to these other colours, next to the Bermuda Bay. And then I'm leaving the ends white. It's kind of looking good. I like it. This was a nice idea. Thanks for suggesting it, Katrina. Well, I only had sometimes, isn't this the way it works though? You get an idea while you're in the middle of doing something else. And then well, I do anyway. And then I end up going off in a completely different tangent to what I anticipated. Some of you may remember a while ago I was playing around with StreamYard, which is a service that allows me to stream to both Facebook, like this, but to YouTube at the same time. And actually other platforms as well, but they're the two main ones that I use. And I'm looking into doing that again. I had some problems with the audio last time, some of you might remember. And so I'm looking into doing it again. And I've been getting some instructions for some friends in the US who are using it. And you may see me starting to do streams like that again soon. So I really would like to, instead of having to do separate YouTube and Facebook, do them together. I can still probably still go live twice a week, but that way I can reach more people, because there's people who are on YouTube but not Facebook, and people who are on Facebook but not YouTube. And so that way I'm able to talk to both of them, which would be great. Yeah, I think it looks good leaving the ends white too. I didn't want to colour in the whole thing. I just wanted to give kind of a bluish tinge. It would look nice with purple too, like a gorgeous grape, or fresh freesia or something like that. That would look nice. That might be another one to try another time. Do they bleed though? Bleed through. Yes, they do. So I would probably put another piece either here, or I'd do this as a separate piece, which I still could, Maybe that's what I should do. Let's do that. And that way we haven't got to worry about that bleeding through. So it was a good question. Thank you for asking it. Because alcohol markers do tend to bleed through. So I'm going to make this at the 10 centimeter mark. And so this is going to be a front panel now, rather than, will I cut the top off, cut the bottom off? I think maybe the bottom. There we go, just like that. All right, so now this will go onto probably a white piece, or even a Pool Party piece. I could go with Pool Party as well. So let me just cut a piece of white. So there we go. I'm ending up with, like I very often do, something totally different to what I anticipated. I had an idea, but now we're doing something else. And that's actually something I've come to really appreciate about my Friday night and Sunday night lives, is that I'm able to take ideas that you guys throw out and turn them, add them to what I'm doing and end up with something totally different. And that's so much fun. That's so good to be able to do that. All right, so this is how this is looking now. Can you see that? Look at that. So now I've got to decide what I want to do for my motif. I could use vellum, because that doesn't cover everything. That would work quite well. I've also got a piece of white, like a label here. This one's got a mark on it, but I could use a piece like that. That's a little big, I think. I think it's too big. So let's see, what other shapes have I got hanging around my table? I can cut another shape, but I'm just thinking about what I've already got cut out. I've got a few different ones just hanging around, like tags and things like that. See, here's some tags. I could do a tag. That's a possibility. Or I could shorten this and have it go acrossways. But it's quite big once again. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe something smaller. Let's have a look at the dies that match this gingerbread and peppermint stamp set and see if, I'll just move these out of the way. And let's see if they have anything in there that can work. If not, actually I'm thinking. If not, I'll pick a different set. We've got so many sets with some really nice labels at the moment. See, there's a star. I like the star too. The star is really nice. I mean, I could actually cut a piece out of my snowflake shape out of white and put my sentiment on that. That would look nice. Maybe I should do that. I think my wishing you a Merry Christmas would fit on that. It would. Shall we do that? 10 centimeters wide here by 14.3, Shirley. That's a standard card front size. Okay, so that then fits on half a piece of A4 cut in half. Sorry, half a piece of A4 folded in half. And then this piece becomes 10 centimeters wide by 14.3, and that's your perfect match to go on your card base. Does that make sense? Do you think that you're saying the snowflake sounds better, Margaret? Is that what you're saying? Let me grab a piece of white and we'll cut that. Also, I did see the recently the Whisper White cardstock was out of stock. I'm not sure if it has come back in. If it has come back in, I must get myself some more because I'm almost down to my last sheet. That's a bit crazy. All right, just grabbing some white. Okay, so piece of white. I'm hitting my, oops, there's a easy to lose, aren't they? That's a little piece from the gingerbread dies. Now, need to tell you guys, the gingerbread dies and the frosted gingerbread set, these are leaving. Okay, they're going, retiring, and never to be seen again. One would think. I mean, there's always the possibility they may show up on the clearance rack one day, but not stamps. Stamps don't end up on the clearance rack. So then once these are gone, they're just gone. But sometimes other things do, like, you know, ribbons and sometimes dies. Okay, so this is right at the front. Here's the frosted gingerbread set, this one here. Everything on this page is retiring, except the ruffled ribbon is going to stay. The pillow box dies are going to stay. And the craft cardstock, the craft paper, that is going to stay. So everything else on the page, like the gingerbread and peppermint 6x6 paper and the stamp set and the dies, all going, okay? I can tell you that the Memories and More card pack, this one here, has already sold out. That's gone and completely gone, completely no longer. You cannot order it anymore. The other stuff you can still order, but it's not, it's only available until the end of this catalogue, or as this one did, unless it sells out first. Okay, so the Memories and More cards and envelopes are still there. The ribbon is going to be continuing, as I mentioned before, but everything else, like these masks, they're going, and yeah, other bits and pieces. So I'm showing you this now so that if you love this, it's something you want to grab before it goes. All right, so I've got my die here, and I'm just going to pull out my machine. Love, love, love this machine. The little guy. Can you see him okay? Let's move that out of the way. Now, this is actually too wide to go through my machine, so I need to cut it down. When you're putting paper through here, it can't be more than 3.5 centimeters or about 9 centimeters or about 3.5 inches wide. That's the width. See, now that's the right size. So let me grab my plates. These all come with the machine. These machines, for anyone who's wondering, They're a great little investment, really, really good for taking with you because they're nice and light, and it comes with all the bits. So that was number 1. Then I put down number 2. Then I put down my paper and my die on top, and then my second number 2 on top of that. And then I start to wind and it just takes it through. Okay, love, love, love how easy it is to work, and it's quite heavy. I do find putting my hand on top is very useful, keeps it nice and steady. And if you're worried about a shape being particularly intricate, this one isn't, but some shapes are very intricate, and those ones I usually wind it through and wind it back. These are $104, I think, or $104.50. I can't remember, but it's around that mark, around the $104 mark. And of course, now we have our little piece of paper ready, cut out, ready to go. Let's just move all these bits and pieces out of the way. All right, now I've got my, where is my bits and pieces here? Okay, this is the one I think will fit nicely, or it just fits, but it does fit, and that's Wishing You a Merry Christmas. If I put that straight up and down, it does fit. So let me grab a block. And what colour? I guess Bermuda Bay would look good with this, wouldn't it? So let's go with that. What problems are you having, Margaret? Is it Australia Post, or is it somebody else, or the basic white is unavailable? Thanks, Elizabeth, for checking. Yeah, it was the other day when I looked. And like I said, I'm almost out. I've got some scraps, like the one I just pulled out, but I don't have any more sheets. So I do, if I'm desperate, I do have some 12 by 12 paper, and I could chop that up. But I'm trying to be really frugal with it. All right, so can you see I've got my Wishing You a Merry Christmas on my snowflake shape, which can now go here, which I think looks rather nice. I'm wondering how that would look on the vellum piece. Or is that vellum piece too big? Actually, I don't mind that. What do you think? Do we like it on the vellum or not on the vellum? You guys can let me know. Vellum or no vellum? Anybody? Courier, please. I don't use them, so I'm not sure how they are, but has it been shipped? There has been some issues with deliveries lately. Yes, so snowflake on the vellum. Okay, all right, let's do that. So on the back of this, I'm going to turn this over and we're going to add some dimensionals. So I think for this one, I might use a couple of minis on the ends. So let me grab a few of those. Maybe every second snowflake arm, spike, whatever you call them. Branch, maybe a branch. And you know what? I'm going to put one full-size dimensional in the middle, just to give it a little bit more stick. Take the backs off. And let's position this in the middle of my vellum circle, which is going to go here. And then, you know what I was just thinking, you know what would have looked really nice with this? It's a little late because I should have put it on this side, but I wonder if I put it on this side, how it would work. It might work. I have here a blending brush, a brand new blending brush. And I'm thinking I'm going to add a bit of colour to the back of this snowflake vellum piece. So let's see how this looks. Yeah, have you spoken to head office yet, Margaret? Have you done that? Yeah, everyone seems to like the vellum idea. So I'm going to start on the back in the middle, and then I'm going to go over the back. So I just want a little bit of colour coming out from behind the snowflake. And I hope we can see this here. You can see a little bit of colour coming out behind that. Can you see that? Also, when you put it against the white, I'll add a little bit more. It's not particularly noticeable, but I like it. I wouldn't want it to be overwhelming. If you did want it to be stronger, you could do the circle before you stick the snowflake on so it's on the top rather than underneath, because having it underneath, it's not going to show as much. All right, let's see how that goes. Ooh, that looks nice. I like it. Margaret, did you see Elizabeth's reply to your comment? Did you see that? I think that's quite helpful. All right. Okay, I'm liking this. I can put it down flat, but, you know, who wants to do flat when you can use dimensionals, right? So I'm actually thinking that will work nicely, and I'm just going to add 3 big ones right behind the snowflake so you can't see them from the other side. Okay, let's... And I want to pop this here so that I still got a little bit of the blue coming out from underneath. That's looking nice. Oh, and now I think we need, I know exactly what we need. We need some of this beautiful, this ribbon is not retiring. How happy am I about that? Because it is the most beautiful ribbon. Can you see it? It's got like iridescent blues and greens, sparkles. And we have black ribbon like this, but now we have white, and it is absolutely beautiful, and it's not retiring. Hooray! So I'm going to tie a bow with this because I think that's beautiful. Oh, how frustrating, Margaret. That's very frustrating for you. Sorry to hear that. I don't like it when we have delivery issues, wherever they might be. I've been really lucky with mine lately. They've been coming quite quickly, but my courier guy is particularly good. I'm deciding where this should go. Isn't that tie a nice ribbon? It's a really nice, really, really nice ribbon, this. It's stiff enough for ribbon to hold its shape, but not so stiff that you can't tie. So it does a really good job. I'm going to grab some glue dots. Go. And there's one last thing I want to add. Actually, the thing I want to add, one of them is sitting here on my glue dot roll. That was completely unintentional, but that's exactly what I want to have. Just fix up my ribbon there. There's these gorgeous iridescent. These are coming in the new catalogue. So the new catalogue comes out in January. And they're called iridescent rhinestones. And they're absolutely beautiful. Just going to add one there. And I don't know if you can see them, how lovely they are. I mean, you could use just normal rhinestones and they'd be fine. But yes, bling. Exactly, Joan. Bling. You can never go wrong with a bit of bling, right? So I'm going to add... maybe one here, and maybe a bigger one down the bottom. How nice are they? They catch the light, blues, pinks, oranges, really, really pretty. Really, really love them. I've already got 2 packs of these, and I can see they're going to be really, really well used. And my suggestion would be when you can get them in January, definitely add a pack to your order because they're just so beautiful. I love them. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, on the back of this, see, it did bleed through as we said before, but that's okay, which is why we changed it so that we're now adding this to adding a second layer. So I had planned to do a 1-layer card, but once I added the blends markers, the alcohol markers, I really needed to think about a second layer, which is why we did that. It's coming together nice, isn't it, Katrina? I like this. Here we go. So this was a semi-planned card. My plan was to do white snowflakes on a crumb cake background. And instead we've ended up with a little bit more colour, which I think it's beautiful. I love this card. This is exactly the kind of card I like to make. Isn't that nice? Have we got time for a second one? It's 8:25. I know I'm running a little late tonight, and if anyone needs to get going, I totally get it. But what are people doing? Are you all running off to watch telly or something else? And as usual, I have no idea what we're going to do if I do another card. So what do you think? Are we done for the night? No one is saying anything, so love it. Another card, please. All right, Joan, just for you. Thanks, Katrina. It's nice to know I'm the entertainment for the evening. All right, so what have I got here? I've got a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to fold. This is the other half of the one we just used, so I'm just going to fold this over and use it. So I'm very excited. I'm learning a whole bunch of new stuff. Like I said, I'm learning more about that streaming software so I can do videos in more than one place at a time. But I'm doing a course on improving some of my marketing, some of my content, and yeah, not so much the content, but the way I present it. And I'm learning new ways of doing it. So I'm hoping that's going to get me off to a good start in 2022, and I'm really enjoying learning those new things. All mine. Thank you very much, Kay. All right. Okay, so I don't know what colour to use, but let's pull out the paper because we haven't used this yet tonight, and this is part of the suite, and this is retiring as well. And let's pick ourselves something. All right, so we know that a white card base is going to be fine because there's plenty of white in this. I've actually chopped this up a little bit. There's some bits you can see that aren't complete. And some of these cut out with the dies as well. So you can cut these pieces out with the dies, which we could do. I might pop that aside and consider doing exactly that. You can see like little peppermint kind of, like humbugs, but, you know, peppermint ones, Christmas ones. And then we've got different, I like this swirly pattern. I really, really like it. I'm just looking to see what else? Oh, what's that? What's happening there? Okay, this is interesting. We've got a square, and these ones also punch out. These also cut out with the dies. I like, this is, for anyone who's wondering, the brown is cinnamon spice. This is one of the new colours that we got last year, and it's really very pretty. So it's the perfect colour for like gingerbread biscuits. So it works really, really well with this sweet. Who else likes gingerbread? I do. I'm a bit of a gingerbread girl. I'm thinking about making some for Christmas presents. What's on the back of that? So the green is old olive. Then it's real red, cinnamon spice. Early espresso is a dark brown. And white, of course. I think that's about it. Also, if you didn't want the dark green, you could go with Mossy Meadow Mossy Meadow is darker, but that goes well with old olive, and Pear Pizzazz is lighter, but that also goes well. So there's a nice one there too. So these are really nice papers. But I'm thinking I might cut a couple of them out because I think they'll look nice on here. The only thing is, once again, the paper's too wide for my, to go through my cut and emboss machine. So I'm going to use my trimmer and I'm going to cut them down. Actually, I'm just wondering, I'm not going to use my trimmer, and I'll show you why. If I use my trimmer to go down here, I'm going to cut the ends off my stars, or if I try and move it over, I'm going to cut the edge off my mittens. So instead, I'm going to grab my scissors and use those so that I can still get complete shapes out of the paper, because there's only two here. There's 4 mittens and 2 stars. So I'm going to actually cut around them like this. And the back is just like crisscross red and green. So did anyone, who got this? Did anyone get this? Oh, someone's been making gingerbread. Your granddaughter, Judy. That sounds fun. Red peppermints. That's right. That's what they are. Oh, cinnamon cider, not spice. Thank you, Sue. I keep saying cinnamon spice. I don't know why. I seem to have a block on that, but I've done it several times. So, all right. So I've got these. I think that one's still going to be too wide, but that's okay. I'll move that out of the way, and we'll start with the mittens. And I also like these snowflakes. So I'm thinking about cutting those out as well, because they're also cinnamon cider, and see, I got it right that time. And those ones will work out quite nicely. So let's pull this back in. And I've got my bases. Oops, this one, the base that says number 1. This one goes first, as the number would suggest. Put that one down first. And then, actually, I'm just realizing there is no mitten die. What am I doing? There's no mitten die, is there? Let me have a look. I don't think so. You can cut them out by hand, but there's no mittens. There's only stars and snowflakes. Yeah, no mittens. We've got ornaments, stars, snowflakes, and bells, but not all of those are on all these pieces of paper. And mittens, there aren't any mittens. So, oh well. Seriously? I'm not sure what I'm thinking. I don't know if anyone has seen how beautiful this cuts out. This is like the little intricate. I might just do one so you can see it. It's absolutely beautiful. I'll do that. So a couple of weeks ago, I was chatting away, talking, and I was mentioning that I think the way to there's a couple of ways that you can get the most value out of your Stampin' Up! Experience. One way is by investing in tools. This is a tool, okay? Punches are tools. Blending brushes are tools. And they're really great tools. Something Stampin' Up! Does really, really well is their tools. There's a number of things that they get really right, and that is one of them. So if you're looking to improve the way you do card making, definitely worth investing in tools. That's what I would think is my number one. I'm just going to use my brush here to get this out. Look how nice this is. Isn't that beautiful? I love them. So I'm just looking here, making sure someone's trying to send me a message. So I just think that's absolutely beautiful, and you could do some really nice things with these really intricate die pieces. They're lovely. Right, that's nice and clean now. All right, pop that back in the die set. It's a nice die set, this. The other one I haven't used nearly enough is this piece. Hang on, this long thin piece down here. This one. Maybe I should try that while I've got a piece of paper handy. It's not the full length of it, but I'm just going to run it through so you can see how nice it is. That's all right, Jenny. You don't have to apologise for being quiet. Oh, that's a bit sad, honey. That's not nice at all. I'm so sorry to hear that. Very, very sad. All right, see how nice that is? Just push those little bits out. And that's what that piece is there. So lots of lovely little things in this die set. I'm going to cut out the mittens by hand, but I've also got this one. So let's cut this one out. Actually, I would cut it out if I knew what I did with the die. Does anyone remember where the die went after I used it before? I cut the white piece out. And then what did I do with the die? Anybody? It was here. I know it was here. I'm going to find it. Aha. Ta-da! Found it. All right, so let's cut this out. Just making sure that's well lined up. Let's put the top piece on, wheel it through, and that will cut out beautifully. So no stamping involved at all. You guys all knew where it was. See, now there's that cut out perfect. Much, much, much easier than fussy cutting, that's for sure. And I think I'll do a couple of the stars because the stars we have a die for. Is this too wide? Yes, it is. So I'm just going to cut a star out of the paper. So I haven't got to worry about the width. And then I can pop this on here now. Anyone got any exciting, lovely plans for Christmas? I shouldn't talk about Christmas because I know if you're like me, I've got so much to do before Christmas. I'm a little bit scared about how close it is, but I'm getting there, right? Oh, I'm sorry to read that too. I know I'll be so sad when anything happens to our cats, our animals, because we love them, right? All right, so now I've got these two shapes, and I would like a third one, I think. Don't really know what I'm doing yet. Got no clue. So I'm going to use my scissors. This one, there's no die for, so I'm actually just going to cut it out. And I'll move this out of the way. So when you're cutting, for anyone, I'm one of those weirdos who really actually likes to cut, and that's all right. I always leave a small gap between whatever I'm cutting and my cut line. So it actually is much more forgiving and will, if you cut right on the image line, it ends up looking more like a child cut it out. I don't know why, but this will make it look much more professional if you leave that little gap. And if you notice, your Big Shot or your cut and emboss machine will always leave a little gap as well. It just does, okay, because that looks better and it's designed that way. So don't ever cut on the actual line of what you're cutting. Leave a little gap. And as a little tip, move your paper more than you move your scissors. So you can see I'm moving my paper. I'm keeping my scissors pretty still and moving my paper, and that gives me a smoother cut line, right? So there is a few tips to cutting. Also, try and use inside the scissors, not the very tips. It's usually sharper in there, but also easier to control. Whoops, I got a cramp in my finger then. Anyone else get cramps? I do all the time. There we go. All right, so now we have 3 little pieces, all kind of matching. And now I have to work out what to do with them. So we have a card base, and I'm thinking probably there's a number of things, a number of ways we can go. I've also got this nice little piece, which would be nice below like a sentiment or something like that. So you could also go down the side. We'll see. I've got a couple of ideas for this. So we do actually have Memories and More cards and envelopes that these look really nice on. I'm thinking in this case though, I might use a different piece of the Designer Series paper. You get lots of cramps too. Yeah, I get them sometimes, depending, but sometimes I get them like when I'm asleep at night and I jump out of bed in the middle of the night with a giant cramp. I hate that. It's not my favorite thing at all. So now the question is, am I going to go with a piece of red underneath, like a red coordinating piece, or a piece of green? Deciding. We've got so many choices in here. I'm not going to go with a cinnamon cider piece because that would be too much the same. But I want something a bit more solid so these intricate designs will show up against a solid background. So I'm thinking what will look nice. The green is quite nice, the green and white. But I don't want too much white. Hey, Wendy, did you just get up over there? Oh no, it would be a bit later than that, wouldn't it? You think red, Joan? Okay, well, we have a couple of red options. We have this one, but there's a fair bit of white in that. I think maybe something more solid. See, quite a few of these have white. See, that one's got white. But that's not bad because the design is straight up and down, so it doesn't mess with these guys. There's also this one. This has got green and white in it. So one of those or this. Maybe this because it's a little bit... So what time is it there, Wendy? You're in the UK. All right, so I'm thinking I'm going to cut a piece. I'm going to go about an inch wide. Actually, will I go an inch? I'm going to go 1.5 inches and we'll see how that goes. I can always cut it down, but you can't go the other way, right? So if this ends up being down here like this, I want these to kind of look like gingerbread cookies, sort of against a background there. And then I'm thinking something going on here in the middle. I've got a piece of white here that I could maybe mess with. And we could put a sentiment on that. Let's have a look at our sentiments and see where they're going to end up. I've got a few choices. I've got the wishing you a Merry Christmas, which we used before, sending you peppermint kisses, happy holidays, you're the icing on to my gingerbread. So they're all kind of cute. Which one shall we go with? Now, the other thing I could do is I could bring in, let me see what this would look like. Here's a piece of cinnamon cider, which I could also put that underneath. I could have a little bit of that as well. No, I don't think I like that. I don't think so. All right, so I'm going to cut this piece. I think it's about the right width. I'm going to cut this. So my piece of cardstock is about 14.8. So I'm going to make this piece 14.3. So it's going to fit just inside my, like this. All right, so let me go ahead. I'm going to use some Tombow and I'm going to pop this down. When you guys see me make stuff, it really is literally just coming out of my head and who knows what we're going to end up with. Sometimes it might go crazy bad. But hopefully, I mean, the nice thing about Stampin' Up! Products, and you guys all know this, is that because everything coordinates, it just makes it much, much easier when you're creating to relax and just go with the colours that are on offer. So if you're working with a paper pack, like I often do, it makes it really, really easy to coordinate everything because these colours are automatically going to go. So if I had this here, like so, and maybe this star may be coming out from underneath, I don't know. Or similar to that. Right, and I would probably pop this up, but I'm going to put a greeting on. Did we decide what? 9:40 this morning there. Okay. Oh, that's not good, Wendy. Fibromyalgia is a horrible thing. I have a couple of friends with that, and I know it really affects them badly. See, Jenny just said she does too. There you go. Yeah. All right. But we didn't come up with a greeting. Does anyone even care? I don't think I want the sending you peppermint kisses. I don't think. I mean, wishing you a Merry Christmas is nice and easy. And we've already got that out. Let's just go with that. Okay. I'm thinking, shall we stamp it in red? Probably red. Real red is the colour in this, or we could also use cinnamon cider. Had to think about it. Cinnamon cider. Now I'm going to pop this sort of to one side so that I've got room for my other bits and pieces. So I'm not putting it in the middle of my circle. I'm still deciding how I want this to go. I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals, I know that. Like this, I'm thinking. Okay, so I'm going to edge this. And whether you edge something or not is always completely up to you, depends on the type of your card, but I am somebody who does a lot of sponging, a lot of edging, and I need my, just going to see if this is the right colour. I think it's a brown, so that will do. I'm going to go with the cinnamon cider. Let's use that, which we had out before, so just going to quickly pop my dauber into that. Dauber's another tool, definitely worth having. I'm just going to edge this very gently. It's going to make my circles stand out more on my white background. Just like that. All right, and then we're going to pop some dimensionals behind that. Now with the dimensionals, we don't want them to be too close to the edge because we're going to be sort of sliding things underneath. So I don't want them right near the edge. I want them further in. And I kind of want this sort of here, nearly in the middle actually. Right, so then this is going to go here. Now, if I want any of these to be up and at the same level, I can have them over the top, which I'm sort of thinking I might do that. So I'm going to pop a dimensional behind this one, and then we're going to pop him up. Like that. And I'm thinking the same down here. Like that. And then this guy, I'm thinking about having him coming out from underneath. I think, yes. So this one's going to have a bit of glue on the back of him. You know, it's okay. I think when you've had something for a long, long time, you know your limitations and you know what you're capable of, and you look after yourself accordingly, right? Yeah, that's how I see it anyway. Okay, it needs ribbon. I'm thinking red. There is the red ruffled ribbon from this set. There is another ruffled, there is another red ribbon that is retiring. Let me just see if I have my retiring list handy. I don't know that I do. Don't think I do. That's okay. All right. All right, so this is the ribbon that comes with this set, all right? And maybe that would be good. What do you think? This one look right? I've also got the linen ribbon. I've got a couple of red options. So there's this sheer ribbon as well. So we have a couple of choices. So I'm going to tie and see which one ties the better bow. I think that might be the idea for this one. So let me tie this. All right, so this is beautiful ribbon, but it doesn't always tie a fabulous bow, but it's okay. I mean, you can kind of pluff it up. Pluff it. Is pluff a word? I don't think you'll find that in the dictionary. it's a cross between plump and fluff, and I just said pluff. You know what I mean, right? So there's that. Or this one. I like the type of ribbon that this is, but this one probably is going to tie a better bow. Now coming up over Christmas, Christmas actually falls on a Saturday, which means the Friday night, it will be Christmas Eve. I may not do a live that Friday night. I may do, so that's the sheer ribbon. Which one? Do you think the sheer? I'm leaning towards the sheer, but I'm not sure. I would love someone to tell me whether you like the sheer ribbon or the ruffled ribbon. They're both nice, aren't they? Aren't they pretty? Sheer. Okay, Joan. Or you were in first, so that's the answer, and that's the way we're going. See, I have to ask questions because I need to make sure that you guys are still listening. I'm still talking, not just talking to myself. Right, so I'm going to pop that on there. On my glue dots. Pop it down here. And then come in with my ribbon scissors and cut off my ends. Now that I've got it on there and I know how long I want them to be. You can always cut your ends, start longer, because you can always go shorter. You can't go the other way. You can't add more on once you've cut it. So there we go. It needs bling, doesn't it? And I think it needs good old gold bling in this case. So the iridescent, oh, we've also got, oh, they might be interesting. We've got champagne rhinestones as well. No, I am leaning towards some, what do you call them? Gilded gems. Gilded gems. I think that's the way to go. These guys. Yep. I'm going to go a medium-sized one, a small one, and a big one down the bottom here. Just like that. There we go. We could have also put them in the center of these guys, but I kind of like them spread out like a pyramid there. So here we go. 2 cards, totally different cards made with the Frosted Gingerbread stamp set. This one, which is retiring, and if you love it, you'll need to grab this before it's gone. Okay, so this one you need to go get as soon as you can. And then, of course, the dies are the beautiful matching gingerbread dies, which I've now messed up completely, but you know how they are. You know how they work. All these bits. This is a really nice die set. There are, how many? Need to look carefully. There are 20 dies in that pack, so it's a good value. And I had this, I'm wondering if it's on sale, actually. I should have looked at that before I started. I don't know if anyone happens to know. It might not be. Some things in the retiring stuff are on sale. There is stuff that's 50% off and stuff that isn't at all. So it just depends, I think, on what they've got in the warehouse. And that's why also, just because something's on special here in Australia doesn't mean to say it is over in the US or in the UK, and vice versa. You guys have got specials that we don't have because you've got different things available in your warehouse that need to be marked down so they can get rid of them. So there we go. So anyway, there is my 2 beautiful cards tonight. I'm really happy with both of them. They turned out really nice for something I didn't plan. So there you go. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. I'm looking forward to, tomorrow's job is to write on a whole bunch of Christmas cards. That's what I'm planning to do tomorrow. But I hope that you all have a lovely weekend, whatever you're doing. And many of you, I hope to see you on Sunday night on YouTube at 7:30. Same time, but different place. All right. We'll see you soon, people. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.